Hi, I'm Alison from Newcastle Speech Pathology, and today I just want to give you a little bit of information about how to use books at home. Now, as speech therapists, we really rely very heavily on this type of therapy because it encapsulates so many of our therapy goals in the one activity. And it's something that as parents and teachers, you have it very accessible at home, and you can be really, through reading a book together with a child, you can actually be really targeting some very key developmental stages that they need to go through. So what we're looking for with books, we're always looking forward to choose a book that is going to be engaging for the child. So you want something that meets their interests, but also has got some colours and just enough of the visual appeal that's going to get them to want to look at the book. Oftentimes parents get bogged down choosing a book thinking that it's all about the story. Well, the story is important, but really a lot of the times we don't actually need to be reading the words. What's more important with book sharing is talking about that conversation that you have around the book. So choosing a book that has got some great written language is great and is very important at certain times, but to get your children interested in stories, you don't need to choose one with a fabulous written text. So something that you can tell the story from just by looking at the pictures is a great place to start. So with a text in a book, we're looking for something that is a little bit probably has language or using sentences and words that maybe are just a little bit further on than where your child is actually at in their own natural conversation. Because what we're aiming to do is to expose them to new language. That means new types of sentences, new ways of phrasing information, and also new words. So we've got them to expose them to new language, expose them to new words. This is really, really important for their development in terms of reading and reading comprehension. And as well, we want to develop what we call their phonological awareness and their metalinguistic skills. So those two big words just really mean their ability to start thinking about language, talking about language, and also then being able to drill down and talk about words and sounds and how they all go together. Once kids start to unlock this code, then their learning potential just goes through the roof. So what we're looking for, and again, is that time together, having that conversation. So no matter what book is that you choose, there's something valuable that you can get out of each one of those. So the book we're reading is Sharing a Shell. Can you show me a word on there that might say sharing? Remember, sharing is a bit of a long word. Sharing. So we're looking for a long word. Can you find it? Yes, there it is. Sharing a Shell. And this book is written by the author up here, Julia Donaldson. Can you see her name? Julia Donaldson. That's the author, the person who wrote the book. The person who drew the pictures in the book is Lydia Monk. So she's the illustrator. She's drawn the pictures. Okay, I wonder what sharing a shell is all about. Let's find out. Sharing a shell. Oh, where do you think this story is going to happen? I don't think it's at the swimming pool. I can see some clues here. That's right, it's happening at the beach. Oh, there's our title again, Sharing a Shell. Can you point to the title? That's it, Sharing a Shell. I wonder who's going to be sharing the shell. Let's find out. Look, a crab with no shell, running along by the sea. You can't come in, you can't share a shell with me. That's right, good rhyming. Or me, or me, or me. Oh, he's looking a bit sad. He's wanting to find somewhere to live. Look, a gull with a wide open beak. Run for your life, crab, hide. At last, in a pool, an empty shell. Quick, crab, scuttle inside. One crab safe in his shell, under the summer sun, roaming all over the rock pool in his wonderful home for one. That's right, great rhyming. Oh, I wonder what this shell's going to get up to. This crab will get up to in his shell. Where's he living? Let's have a look. It's not in the ocean. Do you remember where he's moved to? That's right, he moved into a rock pool. We can see the pool there and the rocks. Oh, who's this? Look, a blob, a bright purple blob. What can this blob thing be? Go away, blob, whoever you are. You can't share a shell with
Me? I'm an anemone, not a blob. Please let me share your shell. Give me a ride to look for some food and perhaps I can help you as well. Who wants to move in with the crab? Yeah, it's the anemone. See that word there? Anemone. That's a long word. I wonder how many claps we can find in anemone. Anemone. That's right. There's 4 claps. That's a long word. I wonder what this guy's going to get up to. Oh, a fish. Look. A fish with jaws open wide. Fresh crab for dinner. Here goes. Out shoots a tentacle, quick as a flash, stinging the fish on the nose. See that word there, tentacle? That's another long word. Tentacle is the part of the anemone that stings. Can you think of something else that's got a tentacle? Something maybe with 8 tentacles that lives in the ocean and it likes to swim. Something with 8 tentacles. Sometimes you might see them near a rock, or you might see them just floating along in the water a little bit. Ah, that's right. An octopus has 8 tentacles. The tentacles are the arms of the octopus. You know, jellyfish also have tentacles, so we might see a jellyfish blobbing along in the water. Do you remember a time when you saw something with a tentacle? That's right, that time we went to the beach together. 2 friends sharing a shell under a sky of blue, romping all over the rock pool in their wonderful home for 2. Great rhyming. Romping. Can you say that word with me? Romping. Romping means it's a way of moving. They're moving with lots of energy. They're romping all around the rock pool. It's like when you go romping around the backyard or romping around in the lounge room, moving with lots of bundles of energy. So we've got our crab and our anemone romping through the rock pool. Say romping with me. How many claps in romping? Romping. 2, that's right. 2 in romping. Look, a brush thing trying to get in, wiggling and making a fuss. Go away, brush, whoever you are. You can't share a shell with us. I'm not a brush, I'm a bristleworm. Please let me in, don't be mean. I love doing housework. I'll suck up the scraps and keep the shell lovely and clean. Oh, fantastic. They've got a new helper that's moved into their shell. I wonder what's going to happen. 3 friends sharing a shell down by the sparkling sea, rollicking all round the rock pool in their wonderful home for 3. Rollicking. That's a word a bit like romping. It's another way of moving. They're moving with lots of fun. So romping was moving with lots of energy and rollicking is moving with lots of fun and energy. They're really becoming great friends, aren't they? But look how they've grown. The shell is too small. You're getting too heavy, says Crab. I'm fed up with being your taxi. It's time that you found a new cab. So a cab is another word for taxi. So he's sick of giving everyone else a ride in his shell. Really, says Blob, how ungrateful. Here I am slaving away, scaring off all the fierce fishes. If that's how you feel, I won't stay. So the anemone here, he thinks that the crab is being really ungrateful. Ungrateful means that he doesn't appreciate what he's got. Ungrateful is when he's not thankful or happy with what he's got. So he's not enjoying having the anemone and the bristleworm look after him. He's being ungrateful. Can you think of a time when you felt ungrateful? That's right. Can you say the word ungrateful with me? Ungrateful. Let's see. That's how many claps in that one? Ungrateful. That's 3 claps. It's a long word, isn't it? If we took the first part of the word off and took the first syllable away, we took away we'd be left with grateful. Grateful means that you are actually really thankful and happy. You really appreciate something or someone. So we've taken away that first syllable and we've changed the word meaning. But in this story here, the poor crab, he was feeling very ungrateful.
So we're talking about the story. We might be looking at the picture and trying to work out what we think might be happening. We can look at the pictures on the inside and see if we can find out some extra information that will help us understand aspects of the story. But the key thing is we actually want to be focusing on the words in the story and some of the key words, the vocabulary, the new words. So in previous videos we've talked about vocabulary development, but what we're really aiming for is really highlighting those words that your child may not necessarily be using in their own conversations yet, but they're more adult-like words that we would be using if we're having a conversation with one of our own peers. So we're wanting to make sure that the child actually really understands those words and then can incorporate those into their own vocabulary. So the way we do that is as we're reading the text, we come across a word that we think might be unfamiliar, we actually pause and we give them a child-friendly definition of that word. So we actually tell them what that word might mean in language that they can understand, and then perhaps ask them to relate that to an experience that they've had. So they then know what the word sounds like, they know what the word means, and they know how the word might apply to something in their own situation. So that's how we can really drill down in vocabulary with books. The other thing that we can do to enhance our comprehension of stories is to be talking about characters, talking about what's happening, why it's happening, and how characters are feeling. So in our story here about sharing the shell, we've got crab in the cup, blob on the tub. Each one pretends to be glad. Brush doing both lots of housework, knows they are lonely and sad. Why are they lonely? Remember, lonely is when you feel like there's no one that really cares about you or you don't have a friend to play with. Why are these characters lonely? So you're talking about the word and you're relating it to an experience that they can relate to, and then you're also thinking about the context of the story and how that might be moving the story along. When you've finished your book, it's always great to get the child, your child, to tell you the story back again, or to be able to go and tell a sibling or another parent or a carer what happened in the book. So encouraging lots of language around this book experience, that time together, maybe sitting on laps and cuddling a little bit, but also really engaging with something that you can see and touch and feel together is fantastic. The experience you have with reading a book, you just gather so much more rich language, that more so than you would if you were watching a movie or television together. So be encouraged that something as simple as reading a book is doing immense groundwork for building a child's language and comprehension skills.